Live from Uvalde, Texas, the Crossroads of Texas and America.
Texas Country at the Crossroads with Robert Miguel.
The best new country from the Lone Star State.
All right, we are live at the Uvalde Grand Opera House. My name is Robert McGill. We do Texas Country at the Crossroads, where we feature up-and-coming Texas country artists. Some of these people get really huge if they're not already. And I'm telling you what, it's always a treat. But this time around, my Lord, we've got someone from, she's from our pond, but we're way far on the outskirts of Texas, man, as far as we're concerned. And she feels the same way about us. Talk about Wow, Texas is the size of what, 3 or 4 states?
Yeah,
You're 3 or 4
absolutely.
states over.
Exactly, yes.
So let's all welcome April N. Smith. What's up?
How are you?
April, get on up to the microphone. Get up real
Okay.
close. My voice carries. I don't want to bury you, and I'm not
Awesome.
using headphones, so
Okay.
But yeah, get right up on there and eat that thing. And I'm telling you what, this is exciting because, like I said, you're a long way from home, man.
We are a long way from home, but that's okay. We were excited to make the trip. Glad to be here.
So I did a little bit of research, and as far as I can tell, of all the guests we've had here for Texas Country at the Crossroads, you're the second furthest.
Second furthest, okay.
The second. Ragland came from Tahlequah,
okay.
Oklahoma, so
Yes.
they're technically out of state, and
Yeah.
But I think that you really made a special trip out here. Like, you're not doing a whole lot of touring and whatnot right now, right?
Well, we're doing South Texas radio tour
Okay.
next week on Monday through Thursday, but we wanted to make a point to be able to come out here, and so we chose to do it this week.
So let me just say this. I really do appreciate you coming out here, especially in light of recent border and, crisis shenanigans going on. So thank you very much. It's really cool to have you
Thanks
here.
for having us.
Now, I've seen you. I think we saw you were at the San Antonio, the TRC Awards?
Yes,
I
I was
saw you
there.
briefly there, and at the Texas Regional Radio Music Awards, right?
Correct, yes,
So you're making the rounds.
Yes, I'm
in the
doing my
scene.
best to make the rounds and meet everybody.
So we did a radio interview by phone maybe a year and a half ago.
Yes, during COVID. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So and you, to me, you were kind of a newcomer on the scene as far as I knew.
Yes.
But if you were new then, you're definitely not so new anymore. you've come a long way in a year.
Yeah, we've made a lot of progress, and I'm super proud of it, but we still have a long way to go and just really trying to get music out there. But we've released, this is our 3rd song this year,
Yeah.
so we've done a lot.
So is that the I guess the plan of attack is just hit them with what you got, keep on hammering them out, or?
We were trying to do one every 4 months. That was kind of the plan. We'd do release something every 4 months, and then we released the whole album in February. COVID kind of threw us for a loop, and so when we released 4 Shots, we took a long break before we released anything else, and then we released 1 2 Step Away, and then now Staying Goodbye. I'm not sure if we'll still follow that plan come the fall, if we'll release another one, or Staying Goodbye is, it's got a long ways to go on the chart, so I don't really know time-wise if we'll run into being able to get another one out this year. But we definitely have more material to release. So, yeah, we're ready.
So let's go ahead. You mentioned 4 Shots. That was the first single, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think that the songs that I've got here recording-wise on my computer right now are 4 Shots, Enough, and 1 2 Step Away, which is the newest. Is that the...
Staying Goodbye.
Right, Staying Goodbye. So I'm sure I've got that one here on my thing too, because I have to have it. It's on my computer. So you got 4 that I've got, and which ones? We'll play them all. You guys, you got your guitar guy, and
Hey, I brought Jerry, and we'd love to
let's
play.
Jerry. Let's talk about Jerry very quickly here.
Yes,
so Jerry,
yes.
is he your touring guitarist?
Yeah, this is Mr. Jerry Matheny. He's my right-hand man, and he's with me most of the time on the stage. Right or left, I don't care. As long as he's there, that's all that matters to me. So, but he's from Sac City, Texas, and he's been making the rounds with me, and we've been together for about 2 years, and he's got a lot of background, a lot of experience in his back pocket, and I'm thankful to have him.
Well, Jerry, get on the mic for a
get
quick
on here
second,
and
if you don't
tell
mind. Yeah, give us your resume, and then how you got hooked up with April N. Smith over here.
Actually got hooked up with April through a mutual friend. But a little history, I toured with Leanne Rimes for 6 years.
Wow.
Back when Blue was the big hit. And,
Nice.
Played on the record and did that for 6 years. But I've been doing studio work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area since the late 70s.
Wow,
Been a
okay.
studio musician. And I've played with this one and that one, in between. And then for the last 2 years, before he passed, I was with Charlie Pride.
Wow,
And
that's great.
Of course, that was a big loss.
Yeah.
Big loss. Such a great guy. But anyway, all in between the time I was touring with Charlie, because he didn't work that much.
Right.
We did maybe 80 shows a year. But in between, I was working with April some, every time I could. And so now I've got more time on my hands other than, I work with a couple other groups in the Dallas area as well. But mainly been focused on April lately.
So tell me this. I mean, obviously having worked with some greats. I mean, really, Charlie Pride, Leanne Rimes. That's full spectrum country music. I mean, if you really think about it,
Exactly,
you know.
yeah.
So that's the best of the old school, the new school, and then you of course
Right.
got female and male. And I mean, what a fantastic resume. So why April? I mean, no offense to April, you know what I mean? But that's a
I
pretty
just-
remarkable thing for you to jump on this ship of all ships.
I've told everybody, you know, I've done my bucket list in the music business because I've done all the award shows, the Grammys, you know, Letterman, Leno, all that stuff. You
Right,
know,
right.
All the big hotels in Vegas, and so I've done my bucket list.
Yeah.
But now I'm just having fun with it. And I love the way April sings. Love working with her. And that's just kind of where I'm at right now.
Now, and this is we're talking to April here on this feature, but you sound like a plethora of knowledge and a lot of great stories too. So we're going to follow up with you one day, sir. But if somebody's listening and just kind of wants to look into you, do you have a website or some kind of musical
No, I don't
place?
have a website, but they can Google me.
Okay.
It's Jerry Matheny, Matheny.
Okay, very good. Well, man, what an honor it is to meet you, sir. Very cool.
It's an honor to meet you.
Now,
Glad to be
April,
here.
how lucky are you then, huh?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I've made it a point to surround myself with great musicians such as Jerry and work
And you
like
had
that.
said that to me in our initial interview. You said that you had just this fantastic group of people that you worked with, that you were lucky enough to kind of work with, you know, both
Yes.
in and out of the studio. So how has that helped you? I would imagine that just helps you elevate your game on so many levels, right?
Oh yeah, I mean when you've got artists in the studio with you that are trying to do background vocals and musicians that are playing for you that have all done the greats like that, it makes you raise your game. It makes you want to be a better musician and a better singer and performer and things like that. And I don't sweat it when I'm on stage with them because I know they've got me, you know, and no matter what I throw at them, I know that they've got my back and they can just fall in right behind me and do whatever I'm doing. And so I don't worry so much about messing up, I guess. And so it gives me a confidence when I'm on stage to know that that's who's with me.
Oh, absolutely. And it also, again, you know, that stuff, you know, you can learn, absorbed by osmosis. Just being around certain people, you just become like that. You know, it's fantastic. I was lucky enough to get into radio in Dallas, and I mean, start off in a large market. And because of that, I think I just got a lot further way earlier on because I was surrounded by just these, you know, legendary DJs that had been in Oklahoma City and New York and LA and this and that. And they all have this knowledge that I could just kind of pick their brains and just you learn from the best automatically. And sometimes you have to, you know, you start out a small fish and then you get a little bigger and then eventually you get there. But sometimes you can fast track if you have the right people you're networking with. So awesome. That's fantastic. So who are the other, I guess, if you have a core band or players, name drop, who else is normally with you that isn't here today?
Paul Popper is the usual drummer, and he plays with Michael Martin Murphy and tours with him still. And then Craig Langford plays bass guitar for me. He toured with Trisha Yearwood for a while, and he does Chris Rivers in the Dallas area. A lot of people know who that is.
Okay.
Then my acoustic player, Kevin Bailey, he was with Charlie Pride. He was his manager and did everything with him for a long time. His wife is my background singer whenever we can have a big enough show we need that going on. And then my steel guitar player is Mr. Hayden McMullen, and he played with JB and the Moonshine Band for a long time. So
wow, that's a lot of talent.
Yeah, a lot of talent on the stage, and they enjoy playing with each other, and the camaraderie between them, you know, is so refreshing to see because sometimes you just get people that get up there and they mail it in, and I don't get that with these guys. They really work to make it the best they can.
Well, and having that caliber of talent, and also, of course, that caliber of work ethic, and the contacts don't hurt either. You know, people that know people and people that are known.
Right.
That actually makes great sense as to how, like we talked about, how you've come so far in a very short amount of time for someone who's relatively new in the Texas country scene. So very cool. Now, also when we first talked, I know you your buddies with Darren Morris, right?
Yes.
You have a little connection there.
Yes.
Have you had any time to spend with Darren lately, or how's?
I opened for him a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, I guess, in Kilgore, which is not far from our house. He lives in Gilmer, which is about 23 or 24 miles from where I live. And so we live in the similar areas and travel in the same circles. In fact, we're getting a show together right now. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but a headline show where I'll headline for him and another artist, but still to be determined as the date and the venue and all those things. But that's in the works right now, and so we're kind of cheerleaders for each other professionally. We want the best for each other. So yeah, we have each other's back.
Well, very good. And again, I'd like to thank you again because before we really knew each other, you guys did a really cool live Facebook takeover.
Oh, yeah.
Both you and Darren for us here in Uvalde Radio. So if you want to see that, see Darren Morris and April performing on Facebook, go to our Facebook page and just kind of look for Darren Morris and April and Smith in the video section. Check that out. But we got you here in Uvalde in person, so really cool to talk to you guys. Let me go ahead and let's get ready to play some music.
Okay.
So we got your first single, Four Shots. Let's go and talk briefly remind everybody about that, what that was like, and then I guess we'll just kind of go in order and see how your releases and all this has progressed. Yeah. So give us the backstory on Four Shots and I guess the timeline of releasing your first single to Texas radio.
Okay. Well, Four Shots is about tequila. I'm a tequila drinker. I don't like beer. And so I'm not picky about which type of tequila either, especially if somebody else is buying it. And so, but I get made fun of a lot because I like tequila and not beer, and so
fun of.
Yeah, people are like, "Oh,
now in South Texas, you won't. Not in South Texas.
Hitting that hard stuff, I get that a lot, and I'm like, "Well, the joke's on you. It takes me 4 of what it takes you a whole case to get to me." So
true.
But anyhow, I just really like tequila. So last year when we were putting songs together, we were getting into the COVID. I said, I just want to write something that's fun and lighthearted and, something that people can enjoy while they're out on the river. And so that's what we came up with. And it was released in May and didn't get a lot of airtime because of the COVID situation.
Yeah.
I couldn't really get out and promote that. And so it still did well. It still, made it into the top 100. And that was always my goal, was my first release out. If I can make it in the top 100, then I'm happy with that, and I know that's baby steps and just really getting people to know who I am. And it did that, and so I was pleased with it. And then we held off for a long time because of the COVID situation, not being able to get out and promote. But we like Four Shots. If you'd like for us to play it for you, we'd be happy to. So.
Well, tell me this then. As far as the leading up to the release, and I think we spoke about this briefly on our phone interview, but what was the... at what point did you, April and Smith, the artist, decide, hey, I'm not content just writing songs, playing shows. I want to get out there and record something, put it out on the radio. What was that, I guess, process? What the planning and then the execution like for you?
Well, we started back in 2017, right after I got my divorce. I knew that I wanted more out of music than just going and playing, honky tonks on Saturday night and singing covers. I knew I wanted more than that, and I'd started by writing enough, and then Four Shots came shortly after that. But when I met J.B. Patterson, my producer, I went to a concert that he was putting on in Sulphur Springs and shook his hand. And I told him, I said, I really have this music, and I'd love for you to listen to it. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, he messaged me and said he had listened to it, and he was like, hey, I think we need to talk. I think
3 in the morning. That sounds like a drunk dial to me.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of wondering, is he sure he knows what he's talking about? But yeah, by the time he packed out, that's probably what time he was actually getting on the road and listening to it.
Right.
But anyway, and then we carried it down to Dripping Springs to the studio, and I have 2 producers, Taylor Tatch and JB, and it was one of those things that I just knew I wanted more out of music than just to be a cover band, and I had more to say, and I felt like I was at a point in my life that I had lived enough life that I could write more, and I wanted to try to do something that was more traditional country. That was always really important to me because I think that gets lost a lot, and people don't have a lot of traditional country, and so we really kept that in mind and went into the studio and just had a good time making music. So
well, very good. Wow, that's fantastic. Well, yeah, I mean, if you guys want to play it live, we can do that. I have it recorded here, but if you would rather play it, we've got this world-class guitar player.
I know.
Drove 7.5 hours, to get here.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's all up to you. What do you want? You want to save it for later, or do you want to go ahead and do it now? You want to go and play something?
Yeah, we can go ahead and play something for you if you don't mind. Yeah, we'll do 4 shots.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, right on. Okay, guys, this is April and Smith. And again, was it Jerry? Mm-hmm. All right, live here on UvaldeRadio.net.
Well, that summer sun shining bright on the banks of the river. Good tequila's ice down in the silver show to deliver. She's been waiting all week to break loose and get real loud. Straight shot shooter mixed in with the beer drinking crowd. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party. Slow floating on the tube, listening to Bob Marley. Salty drinks going down smoother than Bacardi. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party. Moon's coming up and the tubes are rolling out of the water. But we're just getting started, party's getting hotter and hotter. Pitch a tent, build a fire, don't worry, the night's still young. Salt the rim, cut the lime, gonna dance till the last song sung. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party. Slow floating on a tube, listening to Bob Marley. Salty drinks going down smoother than Bacardi. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party. Come on, Jerry. We can have the time of our life hanging with our friends. When tomorrow comes, we're gonna do it all over again. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party. Slow floating on a tube, listening to Bob Marley. Salty drinks going down smoother than Bacardi. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party. 4 shots, a hot night, one girl, she's the life of the party, yeah.
Wow, April N. Smith right there. That is 4 Shots live on UvaldeRadio.net. We're here at the Uvalde Grand Opera House, Texas Country at the Crossroads. We do it every Friday afternoon, unless I'm just too tired or hungover. But man, wow, that was a treat. You guys truly are world-class entertainers, man. This is great stuff.
You.
So, I mean, I've seen you on Facebook Live. I've yet to see you actually perform a live show.
Yes.
And video, as great as it is these days, just doesn't do it. I mean, again, I've never had any complaints for what I've seen, but that was fantastic to see that
thank you
in
so
person.
much.
So wow, very, very cool. Now, you mentioned tequila is your favorite, songs about tequila.
Yes.
What is your favorite tequila? Are you like a connoisseur, or are you really just like, some people just love it and go, hey, whatever you got, or some people really kind of like, you study it,
I don't study it necessarily. If I'm ordering it for myself, I'm going to order Patron, mainly because Number One Tequila, that's Ron White's tequila company.
Okay.
I did a little spot for them on some tequila stuff, and they gave me a big bottle of it, and it was fantastic.
Really? Okay.
And so I
So that's what he's
like,
always got in them glasses, huh?
I know, and I always thought that it was whiskey or
Yeah, it would
bourbon or
look like-
something.
yeah.
Nope, it's tequila.
That is an interesting
Yeah.
thing to know. Wow.
And
The things
so-
you learn on this show.
I know, but it's really good, and but you can't find it many places. They don't carry it. So Patron is normally my go-to. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what
So I'm not a big tequila drinker,
Mm-hmm.
but I love whiskey. But there's this. Have you heard that? Had tried that Hornitos Black Label?
I've never tried the Black Label, but
I guess it's like it's in whiskey barrels.
Oh, huh.
They spend some time in whiskey barrels, and it's like kind of cool. So it's kind of got that finish. It's really
right.
try
I might
that.
try that
I'll get you some
sometime.
if I don't see it next
now,
time.
I like whiskey too. I do like that as well. I just don't drink beer. That's really the only
Right.
thing. So,
Yeah. So, no show. Tequila, man. South Texas, we love our tequila down here.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, man, that again, fantastic live performance. You guys, I got to mention, playing tonight
Yes.
at Broadway 830, which is a wonderful artisan and craft beer restaurant here downtown in Uvalde. 100 East Main Street is the address. April performing tonight from 7 to 10 p.m. Sounds like it's going to be a barn burner.
I
right?
hope so. Yeah, we're hoping
have
for her.
fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun and hope that we have a good crowd to have fun with. So
Yeah, it's going to be a real good time. So everybody make plans to get on out there and see April N. Smith performing. So let's go and talk. I mean, your vocals, amazing. I get a kind of a 90s country girl kind of sound from you.
Yes.
Is that your influence? I mean, let's talk about like how'd you get that sound?
Yeah, I grew up spending a lot of time at my grandmother's house, and of course she had the Judds and Barbara Mandrell and Patsy Cline in her record player.
If I can interrupt for a second,
Sure.
Barbara Mandrell is a name you don't hear enough from
I know.
country artists. I think, I mean, I grew up on that. I don't know if you guys you'll remember that old Mandrell Sisters show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I loved that show and what they did. Oh man, I don't know why more people don't cite them as influences. I don't know. But
Yes,
anyway,
they
continue.
definitely were, and we do Barbara Mandrell every show.
That's
we,
awesome.
We never don't do one of hers, and so anyway, Barbara Mandrell and Patsy Cline, the Judds. And then as I got to be a teenager, that was in the 90s. And so I had influences such as Martina McBride, Reba, Sarah Evans, that I really pulled that sound from and really tried to hone that craft. And that's I do get that a lot. People say, you get that 90s classic country sound. And I take that as a true compliment. I don't want to say that I sound just like people, but at the same time, I want it to be familiar and something that makes people feel good and that they can identify with. And so, my influences were very strong. Of course, I have in today's, country music scene, I have my favorites, that I still draw from influences and take pieces of what they do and try to make that work in my show and take that into the studio and think about how would they do that. And so, but definitely a lot of 90s female artists really helped mold me. So.
Now, I don't think that this is such a problem with the female artist in country as much as it is with the male entertainers, but I feel like... especially with the bro and the pseudo rap country that the guys are doing, the women seem to keep it a little bit more traditional. And that's probably because the industry probably needs that to be that way. Doesn't let it happen. But do you feel like not asking you to criticize, but how do you feel when you A/B the 90s versus like today's output? Do you feel like Are they as good, or are you like old school is better?
Old school is better, hands down. Yeah, no, I rarely listen to any of the new stuff unless Ashley McBride would be the exception to that rule. Okay, she is very traditional country. When you listen to her, her sound, she sounds a lot like the '90s. And there's some entertainers that have been around for a while that still put out music that I still think are great. Miranda Lambert, I think she's great. Carrie Underwood. But as far as the new music itself that's coming out, I think that it pales in comparison to what we had in the 90s.
And why do you think that is? Do you have an idea or any inside information? I mean, I personally think that it's Nashville's to blame for most of it, just the fact that I feel like Nashville isn't Nashville anymore. It's like a bunch of LA people that have moved there. And now it's just those, and ever since Alan did Gone Country, it's kind of like, it's true, like we got a bunch of sellouts that are just like trying to make some money somewhere, however they can get it. And now these songwriters are writing songs. They're not writing country songs. They're writing a song that can get recorded, whether it's pop, country, adult contemporary rock, light rock, whatever. Right. And I personally feel that a rock song should be a rock song, and a pop song should be a pop song, and a country song should be a country song. Right. You shouldn't be able to put a steel guitar, and a fiddle on something and call it a country song, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So, I think Nashville's sold out to a lot of things, and I think that's why you're seeing such a surge in Texas country music is because people are trying to bring that actual, country sound back and take ownership of that, and that they don't have in Nashville now. So I do believe that. People ask me all the time, are you ever planning to go to Nashville? I was like, if Nashville happened, I'm not going to complain, but I'm content right here in the great state making music and making waves here because we can be just as successful right here.
Well, like we said at the top of the interview, one of the great things about, and I've said this several times before, is that one of the great things about Texas is we are the size of several states, and there's this awesome network, and you can tour Texas, and it'll feel like America, or because everything like this. Here in Uvalde is a world of difference from where you're from. Right. And Lubbock is completely different than that, and far west Texas is completely different from that, so it's like you can hit the road and just see a whole different set of worlds. And it's just as big as anything else out there. So again, thank you for making the big long trip out here. Hey, Jerry, real quick, why don't you expand on what we were just talking about there? Because you've got some history and you've worked with some greats. What is your feeling of this? New country versus old country, and
definitely
what
old country. Yeah. I'm definitely old school in that. I'm all about the old country. The new country just doesn't do anything for me. It all sounds alike. It's that cookie cutter thing that they do in Nashville that just doesn't. Now do it for me.
I mentioned the songwriters, I think, are part of the core issues, but do you feel like, I also feel like the artists aren't even really country artists, and that's kind of a weird, when I see them or I hear them talk, I think, well, that's not very country. It's like, okay, well, I don't know, but I guess you've got some hindsight and some experience.
Yeah, I agree, exactly. You're bang on as far as I'm concerned. There's so many artists that call themselves country, I don't think are country.
Yeah, interesting.
To me, it's not country, at least,
Well, now, April, let's just say the big record reps, in Nashville, Music Row, give you a holler, and they're like, hey, we want to sign you, and there's, you can kind of, it's not said out loud, but there's a slight sellout kind of angle to it. They're gonna dress you, they're gonna make you do these types of songs. How do you feel? Are you, hey, you know what, brass ring, I want to get signed, and or have you thought of like?
I've thought about that, and we have discussed that. What would happen if would I take that? Because I've always said I'm very specific about what I want, and that's the reason that I'm always in the driver's seat, I guess, whenever I'm talking about my music and how I want things to pan out and what I want it to sound like and which instruments I want on certain songs. I'm always really hands-on with that, and I know that once you sign that, then you lose that control. And so it would definitely be something. I wouldn't say that I would immediately say no or yes. I think it would be something that I would definitely have to weigh how much control I'd be losing, because I think that's one thing that's really important in my music, is that it's my music. It's not something that somebody handed me and asked me to make. It's something that I felt. It was my life. It was my interpretation of a scenario. And I think that's why it's easy for me to relate a song to someone, is because I felt that. I did that, and I don't want to have to relinquish that control to somebody else. So it would definitely be something I would have to really weigh and balance. I can't say I would definitely say yes or no, but it'd have to be a certain circumstance. I'll put it that way.
So tell me this. I mean, do you want to, when it's all said and done, would you rather go down as a singer/star or more of a songwriter? I mean, if you had to pick, which was more important to you? Because I think that some people, especially songwriters who know they may not have the voice or the look, are content to be songwriters, to be behind the scenes, and that's some people don't have the songwriting skills, but they've got the looks and the voice, so they're going to be basically the focal point, but not the pen, not the writer. Some people like you're fortunate that you write also, and you're attractive, and you could absolutely be, a country star. So people like you have probably the option of both if that bridge presents itself. Right. If you had to pick, which would you rather be remembered as?
I'm very much more comfortable as the singer than the songwriter. I'm a novice at songwriting, and I've gotten very lucky with a lot of my lyrics, and I have really great co-writers that have helped to shape an idea that I had and help make it what it was.
Right.
There's only been a couple that I've written just by myself that nothing got touched on it, enough being one of those that it didn't really get changed except for maybe a couple of words. But so I would say that I'm much more comfortable being out front and being the voice of it versus the person with the pen behind the scenes.
Now, do you think that answer might evolve over time? I mean, do you feel, again, you've surrounded yourself with great people, so you've got a great team of probably no shortage of songs coming your way and talent to put it down for you. But do you feel like, 5 years from now, maybe you're stretching those legs, and maybe you've come a long way in songwriting? Do you ever feel like, is that something it seems to me like you would have already kind of like, that would be your goal at this point?
I would hope so. I would hope that my answer there would evolve, because I think that's part of growing as an artist, is you have to learn new things and try to expand your horizons of what you're able to do and what you're not able to do. And like I said, right now I'm a novice, and I learn every single time I do a write with somebody, okay, this is what works, and there is sort of a formula to it. And so I do learn things every time, and I think that the power of a song can be interpreted by a whole bunch of different artists a bunch of different ways, and you're going to be known for being the songwriter on that. A lot of times if you sing a song, you may not be remembered as the artist who sang it, but that song can be interpreted by so many other people,
right.
and it can carry on even, for years. People might re-record that, and that doesn't ever lose its power. And so I think songwriters are incredibly important to us as artists, and hopefully I will be able to evolve into a better songwriter. That's always been my goal, because I didn't write up until 2017.
Wow.
And so that was, like I said, I hadn't lived enough life yet to be able to breathe life into a song like that. And so I'm thankful that now I feel a little bit more comfortable with it, but definitely rely a lot on my co-writers to help with that.
Now you have the leisure of having a fantastic guitar player right here by your side.
Yeah.
Do you play? What's the writing process? And could you get on a stage with just you and a guitar, or is that still something that you're kind of working on?
I don't play an instrument. I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
I try.
And I'm not trying to throw shade, by the way.
No. I tried to learn to play guitar whenever I was younger, and my guitar player told me that it was just time to quit, because God gave me one instrument,
right.
and that was it. And so I just never could make my fingers bend and hold the chords that way. I can pick a piano, but not enough to accompany myself.
Right.
So I always, I always feel handicapped because I have to make sure I have a musician with me. Otherwise, I can't do a show at all.
Right.
And so, but like you said, I'm very fortunate that I have a list of them that I can call on, and most of the time they're very accommodating.
Well, and your voice, again, is your instrument, and you do have a fantastic voice. I mean, I would worry if your voice was less than it is, because then you'd have to,
right, yeah.
You'd have less to work with. But yeah, you've got a fantastic, pristine voice, so that's amazing. Very good, man. Well, we're learning so much about you guys. This is fantastic. So I guess we'll go and get another song on. Let me see what I got here on the thing, because I know I've got your new single, but I just didn't see it. Oh, there it is. Should we do the new song right now and get it done?
Yeah.
Okay, so Staying Goodbye is the brand new single. Let's go and talk about, so this one was ready to go as one of the releases you plan to do pre-pandemic, and then now this is it's the third one, right? Or is it?
This is the third one, yes.
The third one, right? So you still got one maybe in the can, possibly?
Oh, yeah, we've got two that we can't decide which one we're going to release next, but yeah, this is our third.
So this is the current one. So let's go and get up to today. So how is you're doing radio tours and getting out there promoting this? How's it been? I guess releasing this to radio. What's been the response thus far? And give me some good road stories of this. I've seen you on Facebook, hitting the radio stations, make it hit, making the press rounds. How's it going?
I'm very excited that I'm actually getting to get out and meet people this time, because when we released 4 Shots and 1 2 Step Away, there wasn't a lot of in studio, and so I didn't get to meet anybody. And so I'm hoping that since I am doing this radio tour, it will definitely help. Staying Goodbye has been a little bit slower out of the gate than 1 2 Step Away was, but we all know right now there is so much great music that's coming out from so many wonderful artists, because everybody was in for so long writing music, and then now it's starting to be released to radio. And so there's a lot of competition out there and a lot of great songs that I feel like they're getting their playtime. And so I'm hoping that by getting out and doing this, then it'll get some more attention. We've had a fantastic tour so far. Spent a lot of time up in Arkansas and Oklahoma, and we discovered that we were talking about my middle initial, and so whenever we were at the Cage in Salisaw, they were trying to help me decide, how I needed to talk about my middle name, because I've never been called April N. Smith my whole life. You know what I'm saying? It's always just been April Smith. And so it's funny to me whenever somebody says it. And so we discussed it in Salisaw. Then when we get to Tahlequah, it starts, I'm trying to remember what his name is, but anyhow, he said I needed to make it sound like something that was really cool, so they need to introduce me as April Natty Light Smith. And so that's been the big joke, is that we would make it stand for Natty Light. But I think that it got put in perspective for me whenever we got to Lindsay yesterday, because they said, if you look at Samuel L. Jackson, it doesn't sound the same to say Samuel Jackson. It doesn't sound the same to say Michael J. Fox. And so it kind of makes you a little bit more distinguished. It made me feel better about things. So, yeah.
No, once you become big enough, then the name follows.
Yeah.
Because, I remember, working rock radio, and when the band Korn came on, I was like, Korn with a K? What? That's stupid. Why would anybody name their band Korn? And I had to get on the radio and sound like a dumbass, basically, And then Korn became one of the biggest metal bands, and now everybody knows who they are. Yeah. The fame, once the talent is established and people like your product, then whenever we very first met, it was just April Smith. I think that somewhere you made that transition between the first times that we spoke, and then we started noting the April, and then I did an interview, and then I think is your Nicole?
It's Nicole, yeah.
Yeah, because that's my daughter's middle name too. So
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, but now I have no problem saying April N. Smith, because I know, and it just rolls. It's who you are now to me.
It's just weird to me.
For sure. Yeah,
there is a reason for the
there is a reason because
somebody else has April Smith out there, right?
Yeah,
for
she's
sure.
from Brooklyn, but this is not a Brooklyn accent, in case you can't tell.
Right?
So it's not me.
See, I think you could have gone April Nicole, and that would have sounded nice and country.
Yeah, and we
rolled around. Maybe even a little less generic. So what made you go with April N. Smith as opposed to retooling it completely?
I think that because of my dad, and his passing, I really try to always carry a piece of him with me and my music, and using Smith, because that's my maiden name, was just kind of a way to honor him and keep him with it, I guess. And so that's why I wanted to keep the Smith.
See, I like that, because I did radio in Dallas for years, and I was always Robert Miguel, and because Rodriguez is very ethnic, and when you're in a rock playing to a rock audience, it's like, oh, that's a little weird. That doesn't sound like the guy that I'm thinking I picture in my brain.
Right.
But I came down here, and, now I use Robert Miguel Rodriguez because this is my hometown, and my family, my mom and dad live here, and, so it's like, and I get that. It's, you want to make, and who knows how much longer my dad will be around. So
right.
I'm glad that whenever positive attention is brought to this radio station while we do that, somewhere goes, hey, man, that's Robert Sr.'s kid, so very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your family. Obviously, you lost your dad. Is your mom still around? What is your family situation? You mentioned divorce earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you do when you're not being a country musician, rock star?
Well, I'm a school teacher, actually.
That is awesome.
Teach third grade, and I love my babies at school, and I have 3 girls of my own. They're fixing to be 22, 20, and 17, and
wow.
So
3 girls.
All girls. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm just as much drama as they are.
What are those ages again?
22, 20, and 17.
Oh my goodness! Well, I guess you're coming out of the bad stuff, right?
No,
you'll be done soon.
No,
you're in thick of it still.
I think that it really has evolved into a whole other world I never realized existed with girls and the drama that they have. So,
oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So I've got a mid-20s girl, mm-hmm. and then my youngest is 14. No,
mm-hmm.
just turned 15, and we're good, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've been a single dad for a long time, so it's we've got I think we got a fun, interesting dynamic,
right?
Because of that. But 3 girls, man. I can't even begin. Maybe if I was a woman, it'd be easier, I guess. But,
no, I don't think so. Because, like I said, I'm just as much drama as they are, and so then when you put my drama in the mix
that's
of it,
true.
then it makes
because
it
women,
worse.
like I can imagine, like 3 women all emotional at the same time,
yes.
and angry. Oh my God, that is nobody wants to hear that.
Everybody's got attitude.
Oh my God, and y'all are so
And they get it from
unforgiving,
me.
and you don't budge either.
Yeah, no, we're all hard headed. They all get it from me.
That's what I find that's fantastic about having a girl, like a father and a daughter, is that a dad can't stay mad at his girl very long. She's always going to be daddy's little girl. So ultimately, I cannot sleep on a bad night. You know what I mean, with my little baby girl. And there's just something about that. Even though she's less mature than I am, there's the same thing about that too. I'm the one that's protected her all her life, and that's cool, man. So 3 daughters. School teacher, tell me this from the perspective of the pandemic. How was that for a school teacher / musician? So that put a big damper on both of your careers,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely an adjustment. I've learned to do all kinds of things with technology that I did not know, and I'm really technologically challenged. But I've learned so much in the last year of things that I could make work. And in fact, I was saying that even though we're face-to-face this year from the beginning, I'll probably use a lot of that technology that we used last year
mm-hmm.
in the classroom still, because you really never can teach them early enough how to use some of that stuff, especially in this workforce. They're going to be required to adapt and things like that. And I think that even though a lot of bad things happened in the pandemic, I think one thing that came out of it is that those kids had to learn to be more resilient and adaptive to new things and learning how to make it work. And honestly, all the kids I had in my classroom, I did not have not one single one that resisted that. They embraced it, and we went with it, and we didn't have trouble with that. And so that was refreshing to me, that they were able to roll with it. It was us as teachers that were going, what, you want us to do what? And I don't know how I'm going to do that. And the kids were like, okay, whatever you throw at us, we're going to do it. And so it was good.
That point, that's a great point, because I won't get on a political soapbox here, but whether you believe the pandemic was prefabricated or just kind of really organically happened, whatever it was, it was real. It is real. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I do appreciate, and this is weird that I'm even saying this, is that my generation, as fortunate as we are, we've never had a war on our land. We've never had a major crisis like this. I mean, there's a whole generation of very spoiled people that, when you think about the older people in this generation, the boomers that fought wars and, went through real things. Mm-hmm. And my heyday was the 80s and 90s, man. And it's like, life was a party. We had technology and security all of our lives. And then for the millennials, the ones past my generation, they were even more spoiled than we are, so I think we got a serious dose of like reality. And, that was the closest thing to like strife, and kind of just really kind of shook up, our life for a while, which I think you're right. I think people, it's going to teach people to be resilient and really kind of put things in perspective, whether your family first or job, you have to make decisions. But that all being said, that big, we went off on that. But let's go ahead and get back to the song. April Lynn Smith, Staying Goodbye, new single. Talk about lyrically. Did you write this, co-write it, and is there a breakup there that we're going to talk about? What's going on there?
No, actually, it's a co-write. I have a singing partner, Monty Tips, and he and I were talking about music one day and what we were going to do and what we were writing. And he said, I've got a hook and maybe you can use it. And I said, okay, whatever. What is it? And he said, saying goodbye is easy, but staying goodbye is hard. And so we took that into the studio, and I talked to JB and Taylor about it, and they're like, yeah, I think we can make that work. And so we wrote it, from the perspective that we all know that. We all can relate. There's been some relationship that we knew we needed to stay out of. It wasn't good for us, but we couldn't stay away from it. And so it turned out really good. We've been very pleased with it. And so no breakup on it. And that's not what that song is based on for myself, but we wrote it from that perspective for sure.
Well, very good. It's a great song. And even though you said it's getting like a slower jump, I think this is it's going to be a big one. So
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Now after we get all this done and everybody starts realizing it's out there, and
for sure.
Get it in the
well, let's check it out. Without further ado, April N. Smith, Staying Goodbye. This is UvaldeRadio.net.
Texas Country at the Crossroads with Robert Miguel, featuring the best country music from the Lone Star State. Live from Uvalde, Texas, the Crossroads of Texas and America.
All right, we are back. It's UvaldeRadio.net live at the Uvalde Grand Opera House upstairs in the historic White Room. And you just heard the latest single by April N. Smith, Staying Goodbye. Climbing up the charts. Is it up the charts? I haven't really been watching lately.
Yeah, it's been climbing the charts for sure. I mean, it's like I said, it was in the 60s, I believe, on a couple of them. And, of course, I saw it made y'all's chart this week, which made me very happy. And so, yeah. And I apologize for getting on it late. I talked to your record people, and it's what you said earlier. Mm-hmm. It's like pandemic slowed everything down, and what it did afford us was there were a few brave newbies that were like, let's put out the records, but a lot of the established ones, especially that couldn't tour, or maybe that were wanting to do a radio tour like you. Everybody just kind of sat on some stuff for a while, and then here in the spring and now the summer, everybody started releasing their records all at once. Yeah. And it's like, you only got a certain amount of programming time to put them out there. So it's been really tough, lots of great music, and kind of having to pick like which ones we can strategically put out when we do. So yes, your single is a new one on our playlist now, but already climbing the charts and doing very well. So we're excited about that. What's your goals that you're striving for as far as you want to be like top 30, top 20, top 10, all the way? What's? Oh, I would love for it to go all the way, but I always want whatever my current single is to do better than the last one.
Right.
And so the last
momentum,
one, yeah, the last one made, I think it was number 2 on y'all's chart once, and so I would love it if it did that or better. And then on the T3R chart, it was in the top 30.
Excuse the ambulance.
Oh, no.
Is that an ambulance or fire truck? We are upstairs in the historic White Room of the Opera House, and it's all glass, a very limited amount of, and we hear every semi that goes by, every, policeman and everything else. So anyway, so yeah, we're shooting for.
I would love it to get top 20 for for the mainstream charts, because it got in the top 30. So we're hoping top 20 for this one, and for you guys' station, we'd love it to go number 1.
I'm sure that will happen eventually. It's a great song. I can't see us not getting really heavily behind it. So
awesome.
Now that we know how good you guys are live, it's going to be even easier. Very cool. Okay. Seems to like that it should have an easy time getting up higher because you're going to be out promoting it. What's the radio tour looking like? How many more stops you got? Are you and how are you doing it? Being a teacher and back to school pretty soon, right?
Yes, we go back to school August the 9th, and so I called my radio promoter and I was like, Jennifer, I have to do this before August 9th. It has to be done. And she was like, okay, well, and it kind of got thrown together at the last minute. Mm-hmm. But she does such a fantastic job, making sure everything's lined out. We've had time in the evening to rest, thank goodness, and been able to go home. He was able to sleep in his bed last night, and I was able to sleep in mine, and so before we headed out here, so that was nice that we didn't have to go straight from Oklahoma here, and so she's really good at that. Next week, though, we're going to be hitting South Texas, like I said, and I think we've got 4 days, and there's 2 stops every day at least, so between 8 and 10 radio stations next week. So,
cool.
Yeah.
So we mentioned, so this is officially your first real radio tour, right?
Yes.
And but you did have. I always think this would be. Obviously you did some Facebook Lives and phone interviews during the pandemic, and you managed to get out to some of these Texas Country Award shows.
Yes.
How were you able to network at those and put some faces to voices and station names together?
Yeah, and it's terrible because sometimes I get them mixed up, and then I stick my foot straight up in my mouth, and I'll call the wrong artist by the wrong name, and I'll think I knew who that was, and I did that so bad.
Well, give me an example. What did you do to embarrass yourself?
I mistook. Oh Lord! She sang at the TIRC, and I mistook her for Morgan Ashley, and she's not Morgan Ashley. She's.
Who sang at that? That would have been. The girl that was a host also?
No, that's Deanna Wheeler.
Okay, that's Deanna Wheeler.
I knew her.
Who sang at the TIRC?
Oh, she was, and she's so pretty. And she came over, and I was like, "Oh, you're Morgan Ashley." And she was like, "No, but we get mistaken for each other a lot." And I was like, "I'm so sorry."
Who was that?
I cannot think.
It wasn't Morgan Ashley, and I know who sang there, but I can't remember.
Oh no, was it Ariel? Did she sing there? Ariel Hutchins?
They look kind of alike. Was it Rhea Grace? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. I'm terrible with names, and that's what I'm saying. I'm so terrible with names.
Well, they're all kind of newish people, so no harm, no foul there.
And they didn't know who I was anyway, so I could have told them that I was somebody completely different, and they would not have known.
I was going to say, unless you're walking up to like Kevin Fowler and calling him Aaron Watson,
right? Yeah,
no, nobody cares.
Mistake.
Yeah. So you're all good.
Yeah.
But you know what? Again, like I mentioned before, I come from a rock radio background. I've been doing Texas country for about 4 years now, and I remember it's a whole lot of names and faces to keep up with. I feel pretty well versed in it now, but you know what? they're good people, and once you kind of get on people's radars, and it's real easy to kind of just.
Yeah.
I love the scene. It's cool. I was telling somebody just today, rockers don't work nearly as hard as country artists. There's just, and it really kind of gets back to, I think, the upbringing. Lyrically, you hear these songs about working hard, being out in the fields or tractors or whatever all of our little go-to things are. But it's true, that work ethic that you guys have. And again, getting back to just your willingness to come out here and drive 7.5 freaking hours away or whatever it took you to come out here. And because you want to work and you want to, hit as many ears and eyes as possible. And you don't do that by just thinking you're the best artist and they should all come to you.
Right, yeah.
Because there's a certain like rock and roll. I was talking to a rock friend. And I was like, yeah, y'all believe this like groupie thing. Like you're the rock star and they're the groupies and this should just be all about your swagger, and that's all that matters. But no, man, you got to work, and we really appreciate that. How do you, you mentioned Jen, which is, I'll say it out loud. What the hell? She's my favorite. She's literally my favorite of all the radio promoters, and I love them all. But there's something about her that she's so buttoned up and professional with her follow-ups and her emails, and her communication skills are very, very good. But she really, it's like she just lives and breathes it. Right. But it doesn't feel like she's working, if that makes any sense. And I think you're really,
she's doing what she loves.
Yeah, I feel like you're really blessed to be able to have her. Now you weren't using her the first single, were you? No. So what was that transition, and what made you decide to go, I guess, up the ante with I guess a more seasoned promoter? What was that story like?
I talked to Darren. We were discussing, the single and what we were going to do, and he was like, I know that it's a step up, but if you can do it, this is what you need to do. And I was like, okay. And I, on a whim one day, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to message her. And so I sent her a message, and she said, hey, why don't you give me a call? I'm not sure if I've got room in my roster, but just give me a call. And I sat in the Super One parking lot, and I don't even know that she realizes I was sitting in the Super One parking lot the whole time I was talking to her. But I was in the Super One parking lot. I had just left work, and I pulled over, and we talked for about 2.5 hours just about life. And, I went through the whole, debacle of my divorce.
I thought I was the only one she did that with.
Yeah, no, I went through the whole thing about my divorce, and I think that she and I have a lot in common, and we've had a lot of similar life experiences, and she gets that, and she was kind enough to take me under her wing, and we've been with her ever since.
Have you felt already a different change in the?
Big difference. We saw a lot of improvement with 1 2 Step Away whenever that came out. And, I don't hesitate to call her if I have a question. She's very, efficient with getting back with me about things. And she's, like you said, very professional. But you can tell she loves what she does. She's passionate about it. And there's something to be said for people who are living their dream and doing what they want to do. It just comes out so much better. So, yeah, she's fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you hooked up with her. So, again, she's great people and does a fantastic job. So, win-win situation there. Again, we've got April N. Smith here in the studio, all the way in from Daingerfield, Texas, and performing tonight at Broadway 830. That's 100 East Main Street, downtown Uvalde, right behind the courthouse, catty corner to HEB. Everybody knows where it is if you're in Uvalde. If not, if you're outside Uvalde, make the trip. April came this way. You don't got as far as her to drive. So, come out and see her tonight. And, again, I should remind everybody, since we're on the air here and going to wrap up soon, we've got our second anniversary concert is tomorrow night right here at the Opera House, featuring an evening with Susan Ammons. She'll be playing from 7 to 10 p.m. We're going to announce our brand new sister station and give away some radio station swag and all that good stuff. So everybody join us here tomorrow night for a free concert at the Opera House. Doors at 6, show at 7. And do you guys want to play another one before we wrap it up here, guys?
We'd love to, yeah.
So what you got for us live this time?
Yeah, we'll do something that you don't have and you probably have not heard. This is the most country song on the album. Like I said, I'm very specific in what I want. And I told him, I said, I'm a big dancer. I love to dance. My dad taught me how to dance.
It's the tequila.
I know, right? And
makes me dance good.
Yeah, and so I love to waltz, and that was one thing I wanted on this album was a waltz, and I wanted to be sure it had lots of steel guitar, and so this song encompasses all of these things. Yes. So this is called Heart of Stone.
All right, Sabre Ellen Smith, it's UvaldeRadio.net.
Table said I'm leaving today. Through the years of tears I've cried, now it's all that's left to say. I do so with clear conscience, because there's nothing I can do to make you stop loving her and her stop loving you. Lord knows I've tried to keep you satisfied, to love you like she could, and to show you where I stood. But you turned me away, left me alone. So the note on the table is from this heart of stone. Don't look so surprised, darling, I found her lace. I can see straight through the lies written on your face. When she walked into the room, she owned your heart, and now there's nothing to assume, and our world's been torn apart. Lord knows I've tried to keep you satisfied, to love you like she could, and to show you where I stood. But you turned me away, is from this heart of stone. The note on the table is from this heart of stone.
Yeah, nice.
That's country.
Wow, that is country. That is some good stuff, man. Man, when you guys played that, I was just thinking of my mom and dad. They love dancing to that kind of stuff, and that's a sign of a good song. When you think of two people you love the most in the world, and you think that they would love it, so wow, that's good stuff. April Lynn Smith, very good. April Nicole Smith.
Yes. Natty Light. Whatever you
Natty
want.
Light Smith.
Whatever.
Well, watch out. You don't want that to stick.
Oh, no. We better be careful with that.
But, man, well, thank you guys again for making the big trip. I know we're running a little bit late, but let's go ahead and get one of your other singles on. Should we do one two step away? Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So before we run out of time, let's do another one of your singles. This one's called 1 2 Step Away. Was the previous one to the newest one,
yes.
Which did really well for us, too. Mm-hmm. And go and give us a quick backstory, and we'll get it right on the air.
Yeah, so my producer, J.B. Patterson, wrote this for himself and never really made it on any of his albums. And so he said, hey, I think we might be able to tweak this one and make it work. And so we sat down and changed some he's to she's and things like that. And it was great. And so it worked out really well for us.
I really enjoyed the song. I love it. I mean, it's witty and clever and cute. You know,
yes.
Your voice is amazing. The arrangement's great. I mean, this is just a great country song.
Yeah, he did a good job with it. And
so, and how far did it make it up? Because this is your one after the...
Yeah, 37 was the number it made on TCMA charts.
Which is great for your second single, right? This is your second official.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good.
Very excited about that.
And your new one will do higher than that. So very good. Once again, April Lynn Smith. This one's called 1 2 Step Away. This is UvaldeRadio.net.
Taught me how to two-step, and right then I knew that we were meant to be. We were only 1 or 2 steps from forever. When I state of mind. And I can't spin and twirl with another guy against me and still feel lower than a slow 3/4 time. So now I'm one slow dance from putting you behind me, or just a walk, stay away from finding someone new. Oh, it only takes 1 2-step to remind me that I'm still 1 2-step away from all of you. That I'm still 1 2-step away. 1 2-step away. Yes, I'm 1 2-step away from over you.
Live from Uvalde, Texas, the crossroads of Texas and America. Texas Country at the Crossroads with Robert Miguel.
And we're back here live at the Uvalde Grand Opera House upstairs in the historic White Room, the second oldest theater of its kind, second oldest functioning theater, asterisk, I should say, of its kind here in beautiful downtown Uvalde. April and Smith right there, 1 2-step away. I love that song. Love your new one too. Thank you guys so much for making the trip all the way to Uvalde.
Yes.
What was some of the cool stuff you drove by or through that you've never seen before? Or
Well, it was more just that I've never been to this area.
Yeah.
I've been through Austin, San Antonio area because that's where I did a lot of my recording at.
Oh, then what's
like
in San Antonio? It's just streets and small towns.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
nothing too
nothing
interesting
big.
there.
No,
Yeah.
No. So, no, I was just when we came through and I saw Hondo, because I always see people that play in Hondo, and so I thought, I got to find the places that they play, and so, but I've never been this area at all. It was just interesting to, like, I've never heard of. Is it Nippa? Is that how?
Live from Uvalde, Texas, the crossroads of Texas.
Just it fired off. My wire fired off the mouse. That is really weird. Yeah, Knippa. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
When I first grew up and found out, I was like, Nippa? What?
Yeah, because I was thinking the Case Island. Okay,
Yeah.
my school teacher brain
Exactly.
kicked in for a second,
Exactly.
so I wasn't sure. But yeah, we just we just had a good time just seeing all the towns that we'd never even heard of. So
Yeah, y'all need to hook up a show at the Graf 7A Ranch. They book some bands.
Okay,
And if you haven't done it yet, I'll get you hooked up with them.
Yes, please, yeah.
So yeah, and if you guys ever get to San Antonio, maybe you come down to Hondo, and then maybe hit Uvalde,
Yeah,
make a little
absolutely.
Southwest Texas run of it all.
yeah,
know?
we've done we did Rebecca Creek not that long ago, and so we've been in San Antonio a couple of times, and so this area we'd love to get down here.
Well, very good. Well, again, thank you so much for coming out for the radio interview, and we've got you doing a live show tonight, 7 to 10, at Broadway 830. Again, that's downtown Uvalde, 100 East Main Street. Find out more information about their menu and drink specials at Broadway830.com. They've got some pretty good stuff. You guys have tequila there
I'm very
too.
excited.
So
Yes.
yeah, and delicious pizza. So it's going to be a good time. Anything else? Oh, let's talk about websites, socials, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we have to talk about socials. So I try to make it really easy. It's at April N. Smith Music on all social media and digital streaming platforms. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Apple Music and Spotify. But the most important right now is we are really trying to push TikTok.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yes, and I don't do any funny dances or anything yet, but my daughter told me that TikTok is not for moms, it is for teenagers, and just to get off of it because I'm not going to be anything on TikTok. And so I was just like, challenge accepted. You have a 15-year-old. You know how they think they know everything?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
she's 17 and still thinks she knows everything. So I just want to prove her wrong. And so I'm really trying to push people to go follow me. I mean, I don't always.
That's
push
an
very
easy
much,
follow,
but
though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're not a teenager, but at least you're a woman.
Yeah.
So TikTok is for women.
I love it
So
much.
Uvalde Radio, we got a TikTok because I read an article saying, TikTok's a new thing, blah, 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 blah. But you got to have somebody content create. I'm not going to get on TikTok looking like this, making silly videos. Now, this is funny because of the last 4 or 5 interviews we've done here, TikTok comes up every time.
Yeah.
That didn't even used to do. But I mean, like Scotty Alexander apparently has
He
a
is
TikTok
hilarious.
that's on fire. He's
Yes,
cool,
and
but he's
Kylie
kind of
Fry is
but he's a
hilarious.
handsome kind of ginger guy. It's kind of like I can see
Yeah.
why that people and he's a dude with a fiddle, so
Yeah.
so he's got an angle,
Yeah.
Kinfo, they're trying to grow theirs too. So you said who? Kylie Fry?
Kylie Fry is hilarious on hers.
Really?
Yes, you should check hers out. It's really good.
So are those is that your top 2 TikToks? So what other ones do you
and
find?
I follow Bree as well. I mean,
Okay.
I saw her travel tips last night. She was talking about what she travels with every time, and I was like, oh, I'm going to keep that one, girl. Thank you so much.
Really?
So yeah, I follow them.
I just see her with a dog. That's obviously Bree and her dog.
We see lots of things with Whiskey too, but no, she had some tips on travel last night that I watched, and I was like, oh, okay, that's
have
good
to find
know.
that.
So, yeah.
So which one again is the TikTok for you? It's just same thing.
It's
April N. Smith.
April N. Smith Music.
April
Yep.
N. Smith Music. Find her on TikTok, guys.
Yeah.
All right, and Jerry, you got a TikTok?
No.
No, I was gonna say.
No TikTok for me. I'm old school.
Yeah, old guys. We don't need TikToks, man. That's just face for radio, man. Face for radio. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for everything. And the show tonight, give us a quick, I guess, idea of what to expect.
Yes.
Some originals, some covers. What do you got?
Oh yeah, we'll do a mix, and we do take requests, which I know that's a lot of times people find that odd that we do take requests. But he's so well versed in country music, and so if you request an artist, a lot of times we can pick a song that's by that artist, and so we would love to do some requests for you, and then we're going to be playing some originals and some of the new music that's going to be on the next album that we've already got 7 songs
preview,
for.
nice,
So you're going to get a preview of some new stuff that you can't hear anywhere else. Going to have some merch out there, and so we would love for you guys to come out.
How about Jerry? If you don't know the song, can he do it solo? You ever let him do it by himself?
He can totally play anything. He does not need me. That it is definitely the other way around.
What are Jerry's top what are some tracks that Jerry does on the regular, like on his own?
Well, no, I don't think he's ever done anything on his own.
Okay, so he doesn't just.
He doesn't just.
So you know a lot of songs too, then.
Yes. Oh,
right.
yeah.
Good.
I won't say I'm a human jukebox, but I definitely can Google the lyrics, and we.
You're
get
just
through
clearly
it.
much younger than him. That's why I bring it up. You know.
Yeah. Well, we try to get through it, so that's why we say give us an artist, not the song, because most of the time we know something by that artist, and we can make it work. So.
Well, very good. I look forward to the show tonight. It's going to be a great time. Everybody should be out there as well. Thank you again, guys. I cannot stress it enough for coming out here. So it is time to get on out of here, and that's going to do it here for UvaldeRadio.net with April N. Smith.